everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and I'm really glad that you're joining me today. Today is a continuation of a series that I've done just a few times on my channel, and that is vintage plant advice. So pretty much what we're doing today is reading an old plant book. So this is what I would say a vintage plant book, and we look at everything from the date it was published to the advice that is inside. And I just point out things that I think are really interesting. Usually it has something to do with the photos and just like general, I don't know, like language of the time. So this book was actually sent to me from someone in the UK a little while ago, and I knew that I wanted this to be the next book that I go through. So really excited to be reading this, courtesy of a lovely follower from the UK who sent it to me. So when we open it up, well, obviously the front cover, let's talk about that for a second. The front cover is absolutely gorgeous. It is this beautiful like glass greenhouse, like a miniature greenhouse, which is so beautiful. I've never seen anything quite like this. The shape of this little greenhouse is so beautiful, and I love the little tools that we see around. So yeah, let's pop it open. So on the inside, it has written 1979. So I don't know if that's when it was published, but we're going to check. So it's called Success with Houseplants, and it's by Reader's Digest. So here the copyright does say 1979, so that's when it was published. Using plants indoors, with a lot of different categories in there. The A through Z guide to houseplants, and then finally caring for houseplants. Very exciting. Let's talk about appreciating houseplants, because I think that's super fun. It matters little whether an indoor garden is in a few pots or on a windowsill or a luxuriant garden room. Whatever the size of a collection of houseplants, it adds a bright new dimension to the domestic scene. Even if you live in the country and have the green outdoors at the threshold, houseplants bring a different view of the outdoor world into your home. Centuries of exploration, experimentation, and imagination have culminated in today's richness of choice for indoor gardeners. No matter what the outdoor climate, we can now enjoy the brilliant colors and fragrances of plants from tropical rainforests and arid deserts, and we can do simply by staying home and tending to our indoor gardens. That is so beautiful, and that feels like especially relevant in the times of coronavirus, because we've all been home for the better part of a year, you know what I mean? So we have experienced that isolation, and we've also experienced like the benefits of bringing houseplants indoors, and just like the newness and freshness that brings to your home. I think that's a really beautiful sentiment. So it talks about, appreciating the houseplant as a living thing. So when considering a plant in a florist shop or at a nursery, do not forget that it is a living thing. Life means growth, and growth means change. Oh, that's profound. You may find the current shape and size of the plant pleasing. Will they remain so? Only rarely do we buy mature plants, and a young specimen can shape up in surprising ways as it ages. We have some beautiful photos of some foliage here, some palms. This is a succulent. The things that I just love about these the most are the photos. Like, I wish that I could, not that I'm going to do this, but sometimes I wish that I could cut out these photos and frame them around my house, because they're just so beautiful. So this page is talking about texture. So the different texture on plants, we have like a waxy, we have a fuzzy, a ripply, tiny little leaves that are probably fuzzy. I just love it. Ooh, patterns on leaves. You know what I think is so interesting looking through these books is seeing plants that I take care of now, like the Photonia and the Dieffenbachia. Well, I don't have a Dieffenbachia right now, but you know what I mean? Like specifically the Photonia, let's talk about. But it's so interesting seeing photos of these plants like from 1970. I mean, they look the same, It's just crazy. Like this could have been a photo of my plant in the other room, but it's not. This is a plant from 1970. I just think plants are so timeless. Rex Begonia. This is colorful plants, which I don't tend to collect a lot of colorful plants, but I am kind of getting more into that. And I talked about it in a recent haul video, and someone said that it's probably because it is so gray in Missouri right now, just in the Midwest in general. So it's nice to have colors. And then this is about flowers, which again, have not really had a ton of interest in, but recently I've been a lot more interested in flowers. So yeah, okay, we have orchids. This one's blooms. And then we have the Antherium, like flamingo flower. This is a spread. Wow, this book is very, very informative. I love this. So this is about all of the shapes that a plant can take on. I'm gonna sit on the floor. I was sitting on my legs and it's hurting. So these are all the shapes that a plant can take on. So we have rosette, bushy, grassy, upright, tree-like, climbing and trailing. So that's really, really beautiful. I love this visual. I've never really thought about plants like that. I usually only think about bushy or upright. Never really like anything in between. I think that's really interesting. So this is talking about grouping plants. Okay, this is something that is just like so wonderfully like 1970s houseplant people, but you can see that they have just like a bunch of different plants potted in this specific pot all together, which is not something I've ever done, but it's really interesting because it creates like a tiny little, I don't want to say forest, like a little jungle in that pot. I think that's actually really cool. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but I like this hanging basket right here because it has some asparagus fern, some spider plant, and what I'm assuming is pothos. I think that looks really cool actually. So might be something to look into. I've never done it, but clearly it was a thing back in the day because they have an entire section dedicated to it. Okay, this is interesting. So brightening small areas. What does this say? I'm interested to see this because it looks like these are all like low light situations. So I wonder what they say about low light. In every home, there are small spaces in need of brightening up with some kind of ornament. Plants are not only ornamental, but alive, and there are plants to suit almost any situation, no matter how restricted. Flowering plants in particular can add color and vitality to an otherwise dead spot. I'm assuming we're relating to this African violet here. A windowsill is an obvious choice for displaying single plants. Even the narrowest sill can accommodate a couple of tiny cacti, but do not content yourself with the obvious, for there are plenty of other possibilities. Use small plants, trailers, and climbers to decorate bookshelves, wall units, and kitchen cabinets and counters. Foliage plants add a welcome touch to small tables, narrow ledges and niches, desktops, bathroom cabinets, and anywhere else that needs some living color to enliven a blank surface. So they don't mention anything about like the fact that plants need light, because this room, like right here in particular, looks very, very dark, and it is positioned underneath this lamp, and I don't think that they would like be using that as a grow light. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say that grow lights didn't exist back then, because I'm sure they absolutely did, but I don't think that it was something that you would have in your home. So let's see. The light accentuates the glow, but is too weak to help growth. Okay, so the light will light up the plants so that you can see it, but it won't accentuate the growth. So they kind of are using this as a grow light, which is very interesting. Interesting advice. I'm not against it. I just think it's interesting. And then this is, oh my gosh, look at this furniture. Look at that couch. That is like gorgeous cane, or what would that be, like bamboo furniture? Absolutely beautiful. Even more beautiful furniture. Oh my gosh, and these big statement plants. I mean, we know I love a statement plant, like hello, this plant right here. We know I love a statement plant. Ooh, using plants as a room divider. That is interesting. I don't know if I've seen anyone necessarily do that like consciously. I think that we have room dividers, but I don't know if I've ever seen someone use it like plants as a room divider. So this one's basically telling you to use a trellis wall and then plant plants on either side of it so that the plants grow up and create a barrier. I mean, just like this, you can see that. And look at this tufted couch. It's coming back. I mean, it's been coming back in style, but yeah. Using window areas. Look at that saucer. That is beautiful. I would love to find that saucer modern day. So what I'm really curious about, plants in containers. We have beautiful domes. That is a maidenhair fern where she rightfully belongs. And then these are domes like on the cover. Terrariums of all shapes and sizes can be bought in specialty shops or made to order. Ficus Fittonia and Microcalyum thrive in moist air of this leaded glass case. Garden rooms. That is literally what I'm sitting in right now. Like, this room is overflowing with plants. I'm currently in a garden room. So gardens in the floor, this is cool. To have a built-in garden in one part of the room, you can box in a section of the floor space, provide a waterproof lining for the box, and either surround potted plants with peat moss or fill the space with potting mixture in which to plant the specimens. If you are building a new house, consider the possibility of providing a sunken area in the floor to be used as a permanent planter. Oh my gosh, someday when I build a house, if I ever do, I will definitely be doing that. Now this is what I'm interested in here, is this A to Z guide. I think that's really unique. I haven't seen anything like that, and I'm interested. So it seems, okay, are we, oh, it's A to Z plants, just like plants listed A to Z. That is very interesting. Okay, okay, okay. So it seems like there was little instruction, and then now we're into the plant guides. So let's see what we can look at here. Aglionema, classic. The genus Aglionema includes many decorative houseplants notable for their subtle patterned gray, cream, and green leaves. Most of these upright plants are not much as 3 feet tall. They have lance-shaped or oval leaf blades on leaf stalks 1 foot long that arise from a central growing point. So I'm going to flip through this and just look, and I'm not going to talk. Oh wait, hold on, I want to talk because we just got to Antherium, and I haven't really seen any of these books mention anything other than like the flamingo Antherium. So we have an Antherium crystallinum. So it says here, popularly called the crystal Antherium or strap flower, is grown entirely for its highly decorative foliage. The leaves are heart-shaped as much as 2 feet long and a foot wide. Wow. When young, they are metallic purple, which is very true and very lovely, but they become a shimmering deep emerald green as they age, with the prominent midrib and principal lateral veins etched in silver. Leaf stalks are up to 15 inches long and hold the leaves up almost vertically. The inflorescence is insignificant compared with the foliage, which is usually true with aroids. The inflorescence is not usually that exciting. But okay, back to looking through. Got some begonias here. This is a cane begonia. So let's see what is beyond the A to Z. Oh, I just saw something very cute and interesting. Supporting and training. Okay, so it is getting dark. I'm losing daylight, but I will finish this in the morning, so I will see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It is a new day. I considered refilming this entire thing for continuity's sake, but honestly, the people who watch these videos, I know that the series is not mega popular on my channel, and the people who watch the series are watching for the book, not for me and my face. So let's just keep reading then. Okay, so support and training. I ended off on this chapter or section because I really wanted to give it like proper daylight viewing because it is absolutely beautiful. I have never seen something quite like this. I just think that this is lovely. So this is Ornamental Supports, and it basically here says, these 9 ornamental supports suggest only a few of the many possible support shapes for climbing plants. With ingenuity and strong wire or twine, the indoor garden can combine tough bamboo and flexible rattan into any number of striking geometric patterns. I think it's so cool that they're literally using like rattan. I feel like that would be so hard to find like now, but any one of these would be so cool. Like I think the circle is most striking to me. I also like this circle because you get the hoop sensation, but you also are getting the crossing over. And I've seen people use like reed spline and things like that in redoing like caning material things like that chair right there. So I feel like maybe that could be used. I wonder what they mean by like rattan. But okay, so just wanted to like really highlight this page because I think it's beautiful. And this one is all about propagation. Oh, look at this. This is stem cutting. So that would be wet stick propagation. That's fun to see. And what else do we have? Plantlets. So here are a few plants that put off little babies, just like as full-on plants. So we have the strawberry begonia, and spider plant. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like some sort of ivy. I don't think that's what it is, but the leaf shape looks like an ivy. This one is the mother of thousands, and yeah, all of the little like flower things on a mother of thousands are all tiny babies, and they grow roots, and it's very cool. And then we have a fern, which I've never seen a fern put off a baby, so that's really cool. So here it's talking about light. So alternative growing methods, artificial light. There are several reasons for growing indoor plants under artificial light. It can be used for supplementary daylight or even for replacing daylight in poor lit positions. It can also improve growth and health, especially in winter. Very cool. Okay, so there are 3 basic sources of artificial light: the incandescent filament bulb, the mercury vapor lamp, and the fluorescent tube. I haven't heard of mercury vapor lamp. So the mercury vapor lamp floodlights are more powerful than the incandescent type, and they give out less heat. Their big drawback is that each such lamp is likely to have a wattage of at least 250, therefore they are expensive to run, but indoor gardeners with large plant displays may find them worth the expense. Very interesting. This would be a really cool thing to look back on, because I feel like research on grow lights might have been updated, or maybe it hasn't, and maybe the research that was found in this time is still totally legit. But we have here some hydroculture. So I wonder if they talk about Lecca. We know how I feel about Lecca. I just don't like it. So hydroculture is a method of growing plants with their roots in water containing necessary plant foods. This nourishing liquid, technically known as fertilizing solution, replaces the potting mixture, which is why hydroculture is often called soilless cultivation. The only solid material required for plants being grown by this method are the containers and some substantial anchorage to keep the plants from toppling over. Lecca is light expanded clay aggregate, so I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same thing, like something very similar. And what they're using is a water meter to see what the level of the water is, because they don't have like a net pot and then a cover pot. They have just the Lecca and then the roots and like a water reserve on the bottom, which people can definitely do. Like from what I know in my conversations with Adam and Nicole, it's definitely possible. But this is very interesting that there's an entire section on this. Like I've never seen a plant book that talks about Lecca and just like hydroculture in general. I've never seen it. So it tells you how to, this is kind of cool actually. So this book is like kind of next level, but it tells you how to switch from soil to Lecca. Very cool. Oh, so here's like a bunch of like diseases that a plant can get. So virus is something that I have not like done a ton of research on. And I wonder if there's also like bacteria stuff. We have pests. Let's see what it says about virus, because I feel like there isn't a ton of like talk in the plant community about virus other than like, I was about to say coronavirus. What is it? Mosaic virus. I feel like I hear about mosaic virus quite a bit, but I don't really know anything about it. So virus disease is caused by microscopic organisms or particles that change the basic composition of plant cells. The symptoms are usually yellow streaking or mottled leaves, often with distortion of leaf shape and stunting of the whole plant. There is no cure. So the mottling of the leaves is mosaic virus. Red spider mites, that's the one that I always get. Springtails, let's see what it says about springtails, because springtails, I get a lot of messages of people finding springtails in their soil and they're just like totally freaked out because they're like little white bugs that crawl around in your soil. So it says springtails are wingless jumping white insects up to 3/8 inch long, commonly found in unsterilized soil and peat. They usually do no harm, but some kinds gnaw the stem of young plants and feed on leaves that touch the potting mixture. To avoid possible trouble, always use sterile mixtures for seeding, otherwise no action is generally advisable, though springtails will be destroyed if the potting mixture is drenched with an appropriate pesticide. I feel like that pretty much sums up this book pretty well. I mean, we have, you know, a pretty substantial like plant A through Z section, which basically just goes through all the different plants from A to Z. And there's lots of plants in those. So we have this monstera. That's a beautiful drawing. It also talks about the variegated monstera right here. That's pretty cool. There is a form, Monstera deliciosa variegata, with leaves splashed with white or cream colored patches of irregular shape and size. Very cool. And it also says here to put the monstera on a moss pole. So yeah, I really like this book. I think this book is full of awesome information and just like really, really beautiful visuals and awesome help. Like this orchid section, I'm probably going to be hitting up quite a bit because I am recently into orchids. I don't know how well it's going to go, but I really, really would like to try them. So far I have a Phalaenopsis orchid and I don't see the one that I really want on here, but I've just seen like a ton of really cool orchids. I have a terrestrial orchid and I've never seen it bloom, but it is still alive. Someone actually gave it to me when I was living in Tucson and it's cool. It just hasn't done anything flowering wise. So maybe I need to like do some research on it to see what I can do to get it to bloom. But yeah, I think orchids are really cool and I'm slowly getting into that. And also something that I haven't really thought about a lot is palms. For some reason, I just think of palms and I just see spider mites and nothing else. And yeah, that's pretty much what I think of palms, even though all of my plants are prone to spider mites, you know what I mean? So I don't really know why it holds me back, but there are a few different types of palms that I'm interested in. I think this one looks a lot like the one that I'm interested in. This is called a Rhapsis. That's not the name that I know it as. I forgot the name, so obviously I'm not very helpful right now, but yeah, I am interested in maybe trying like one palm. I don't know. There's a lot of plants that I just didn't keep when I was living in Tucson because the environment was absolutely not conducive to it and I did not want to be killing plants all the time, so I just avoided it. But yeah, so I'm willing to try new things now and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think that that's going to be all for this video. So I hope that you enjoyed looking through this book with me. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful and again, just like such a treasure to have books like this. The thing that I love the most about these types of books is just how beautiful their language is and just like the appreciation for houseplants that comes through from the authors in these books. I think it's so beautiful. And on the subject of books, I actually did write a book about houseplant care and I'm so excited about it. It's called Houseplants for Beginners and it is going to be coming out on March 9th, but you can pre-order it right now using the link down in the description box below. It is an Amazon pre-order. And if you are interested in getting the book, like right when it's available, it will be shipped out to you. You can do that. But it will also hopefully be available in plant stores and bookstores near you. We're definitely working on getting that. And basically, if you know or own a plant store or a bookstore who wants to carry the book, you can just email me and I can get you the information on that. But yeah, that is a big announcement. I think the book will be a really great way to refresh on plant information and just enjoy the language surrounding plants, because I do consider myself a writer, not necessarily a writer of nonfiction. I never thought that I would write a nonfiction book, but I went to school for English and linguistics and I did a ton of creative writing and I always loved it a lot. And I didn't know that this would happen for me, that I would be able to write a book. Especially, I didn't think that I would ever write a nonfiction book, but it's been so awesome to write this book and go through this whole process and get all of this knowledge that's in my head onto paper. So if you are interested in checking that out and just like supporting me in general, you can click the link down in the description box below. And if you're not ordering it for yourself because you feel like you're past the beginning houseplant books, you can definitely send it along to someone else who might still be in that stage. And if all else fails, it's a beautiful book, so it would be really great for a coffee table book. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video and hearing me out on my little self-plug on my book. I'm really excited about it and I hope that you are too. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Are you enjoying this part of the jungle that you don't usually visit? I don't usually let Kubi in this area because he likes to eat the cocoa out of my pots. And then of course Leo has to come in too and say hi. Ouch, my hair. My hair. Cooper and I have the same color hair. Look at that. It just disappears onto him. We have the same color hair. Yeah, it's true. We're twins. Okay, get down. Get down. Get down. I'm still reading. I'm still reading.